What's up, guys? Welcome back to Molly Bullies Kennels. In this episode, I want to talk about my first stud that I purchased. And this is kind of a continuation, or not a continuation, but a part two. Excuse me, of the last video that I did regarding my first American Bully, which was China, which was my female, my lilac female. And today we're going to talk about my first stud. So if we go back to when China was about, I would say, 4 months, I was also looking for a stud. I was looking for a stud. I was like, my mentality was like, well, if I'm going to breed a female, I need a male to breed her to. I wasn't aware at the time that there was studs that offer stud services, around the world. I wasn't aware of that. So to me, it was like, well, if I'm going to breed, I need a stud. So I looked around. I started looking around for a stud, and I came across this breeder, and he had a nice stud, all white stud, and that was something that I really like. Me personally, I like an all white dog. Especially American Bully. So I was like, this is the ideal stud for me. And of course, he had the features that I really liked and looked for in a stud. So I hit the breeder up, and I told him how much was for the stud. He told me, and it was pretty expensive. He wanted $3,000, which at the time, I didn't know much about bullies, so I thought $3,000 was pretty expensive, let alone $2,500, which was what I spent for my female. I thought that was overboard. So now that he tells me $3,000, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. But I did some research, and I came to the conclusion that, okay, it's not overboard, but it's not, it's a reasonable price. And the stud is nice, the puppy's nice, and he has a nice pedigree to back him up, and so I went through with it. I met up with a guy, and I purchased the stud, and I named him Güero. I'm gonna post a picture. So this is him at about 3 months of age. This is Güero. And in this picture is Güero and China together. So I was excited. I was like, okay. It's getting serious. To me, after I got my first female and male, it was looking more serious. I was like, okay. And then this about breeding bullies, I was taking it more serious, because to me, I was like, I have what I need now to breed the bullies. Now I just gotta wait for them to come of age so I can breed them. And my first stud, Güero, he had a nice pedigree. I use had because unfortunately, he passed away. But he was a nice dog. So I'm gonna break down his pedigree. I'm just gonna mention a few names. His father was Grand Champion Riot Luciano, and his mom, I don't remember her name, but this is his mom right here. But anyways, if you're familiar with Riot Luciano. You know, he has a good bloodline. I believe his father to Riot, which was the grandfather to my stud, was Furious Luciano, and then Furious Luciano's father was Lucky Luciano, which was the great grandfather of my stud. So I mean, his pedigree wasn't too shabby. It was nice. But yeah, he was my first stud, and I'm gonna post a picture of him, you know, when he was about a little over a year and a half. So this is him right here. And yeah, I mean, I didn't really get to use him much. I didn't really stud him out like I wanted to. I'm gonna post a picture of his productions. So this is a female that he had with one of my females that I had purchased, and she was a singleton. And this is a male that he had with an outside female. So he only has 2 productions under his belt, and both times, you know, he produced singletons. More than likely, it was an issue on his side or on my side. You know, I don't think it was the female. It was probably something to do with his semen. That's why it's important, you know, to check your stud's semen. Make sure it's motile. It's you know, and it's ready to go. You want to make sure it's viable. You want to make sure there's a lot of sperm cells. You know, make sure, and you want to make sure they're swimming in the right direction too. You know, you want to make sure they're all intact, don't have any broken tails. But I never checked the semen. And you know, that was my only mistake. I should have checked the semen. But yeah, he only had 2 productions, and they were both singletons. You know, he was a nice dog, but he suffered a lot from. He would overheat a lot. I think he would overheat the first 3 times that he overheated. You know, unfortunately, you know, I was there when it happened. You know, good thing I was there. And you know, I just rinsed him off with a water hose. You know, I used some alcohol, like on his under his armpits and under his belly. You know, because I've heard using alcohol when your dog overheats, it helps him. And I also use lime juice. You know, I use lime juice because I heard that lime juice also helps. It helps him, I guess, open his passageways, so he can breathe better. And yeah, you know, I saved him the first 2-3 times that it happened, because I mean, he had a pretty smashed muzzle. It wasn't too smashed in, but you know, he would overheat easily, you know, from the heat. You know, once it was above 85, you know, he would overheat. And you know, I suspect he died like that. You know, one summer day when it was really hot. You know, it was my fault, because I usually tend to leave. I have some commercial fans, and I would leave them running all day. You know, to give my bullies fresh air, you know, or cool air, especially Weddle. And that day I didn't. I totally forgot. That morning it was nice and cool, but you know, as the day progressed, you know, it got hotter and hotter, and I believe we reached to about 90 degrees that day. And I came home, and he was dead. You know, I suspect that he had a heat stroke, and you know, no one being there to save him. You know, he just, you know, he died. But yeah, that was my first stud that I got. You know, I just wanted to share that story with y'all. You know, but yeah, I also got another stud, but I'll talk about him in another video. He was my second stud that I got. But yeah, that's it for this episode. You know, just a little story thought I'd share. And like and subscribe, you know, if y'all liked it. And I'll see y'all guys later.